All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a concept that's, well, kind of the bedrock of our whole financial world: audit and assurance. It's the system that basically tells us who we can actually trust when it comes to money. So let's get into it. So it really all boils down to one simple but super important question. A company puts out its big annual report. How do you really know they're telling the truth? I mean, how do we get that confidence that the numbers aren't just made up? Well, that's precisely the problem that audit and assurance are here to solve.
And this diagram you're looking at, think of it as our roadmap for this whole explainer. Now, I know it might look a little complicated at first glance, but trust me, it lays out the entire landscape perfectly. We're going to walk through it piece by piece so you can see exactly how this system builds that competence we were just talking about. Okay, before we dive into the nitty-gritty, we first have to get a handle on the why behind all of this. It all comes back to one core idea: building a foundation of trust. Because honestly, without it, our modern economy just wouldn't work.
I mean, just think about your own life for a second. Would you invest your hard-earned savings in a company or even take a job there if you thought they were fudging the numbers? No way. This isn't some abstract business school concept. It hits home and affects the real-world choices we all have to make. So how do we actually build this trust? Well, our first stop on the map is probably the one you've heard of before: the external auditor. Let's zoom in on our map here to this first big pillar: external audit. The most important thing to get right away is that this is a totally separate, independent process. Its whole purpose is to give an objective, outside-in opinion. An external audit isn't just someone popping in to look at the books. It is a highly structured, methodical process. It kicks off by setting really clear goals, then moves into careful planning and figuring out where the risks are. Then comes the actual audit work. But it all leads up to one critical thing: the final audit report. That's the official document where the auditor tells the world what they found. So the magic word here is independence. The external auditor is basically a public watchdog. Their job is to look at those financial statements for all of us, for shareholders, for investors, for the public, and to say, yep, we've checked it out, and this looks like a true and fair picture of what's going on. Okay, so we've got the outside perspective down. Now let's head inside the company and look at a totally different but just as important function: internal audit. Back to our map we go. See where internal audit sits? It's definitely part of the same system, but you can already tell its purpose and who it's for is going to be fundamentally different. And right there, that's the absolute biggest difference. The external auditor, they report to the public, but the internal audit team, they work for the company's own management, for the people running the show. The best way to think about internal audit is like a company's personal health checkup. These folks look at all the internal systems and processes to spot weaknesses, figure out better ways to do things, and just generally make sure the business is running smoothly and efficiently. Okay, let's put these two head to head. It's really simple when you break it down. You've got the watchdog, whose audience is everybody outside the company. Their goal: give that official, often legally required opinion on the numbers. Then you've got the health check. Their audience is the bosses inside the company. And their goal is totally different: help the company run better. So one is all about public accountability, the other is all about internal performance. So we have the watchdog on the outside and the health check on the inside. But what's cool is that both of these ideas actually fall under a much, much bigger concept. So let's explore that final territory on our map: assurance engagements. Our focus now shifts to this last big piece of the puzzle. And notice how it's positioned on the map. It's this huge, overarching category. It actually holds the other things we've been talking about. So what is assurance really? Well, you can think of it as any time a professional expert comes in, examines something, and then gives an opinion that boosts everyone else's confidence in it. It's all governed by these strict international standards to make sure it's done right. And get this, it can be about way more than just a company's past financial reports. And that is the key takeaway right there. Assurance is the big umbrella term for providing confidence. A financial audit is just the most common type of service under that umbrella. But you could also get assurance on, say, a company's cybersecurity systems, or even their reports on environmental impact. An audit is just one flavor of assurance. Okay, we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now let's zoom out, put it all back together, and see the powerful framework this creates. So here it is, the whole picture. You have the external watchdog, the internal health check,
and that huge umbrella of assurance covering it all. They're not separate things. They are three pillars, all interconnected, all working together to hold up one single foundation: trust. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? This entire system, with its checks and its balances, its inside look and its outside validation, this whole thing is what lets us have confidence in the information we use to make huge financial decisions every single day.
So, as we wrap this up, it kind of leaves us with a huge question to think about. I mean, in a world that's getting more and more complex, with AI changing the game completely, how are these pillars of audit and assurance going to have to change and evolve to keep that trust alive? Because honestly, the future of our financial confidence really hangs on that answer. Something to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me.